What I'm about to share with you is something most people dealing with blood sugar issues rarely hear explained clearly. When it comes to fruit and diabetes, the advice out there is confusing, inconsistent, and often completely contradictory. One person tells you fruit is basically sugar and should be avoided. Another says it's natural, so you can eat as much as you want. And somewhere in between, you hear vague warnings about certain fruits without any real explanation. It's no surprise that many people feel stuck, unsure of what to believe, and afraid of making the wrong choice. Over the years, I've seen this same pattern repeat itself again and again. Some people become so cautious that they cut fruit out of their diet entirely. In doing that, they miss out on essential fiber, vitamins, and protective compounds their body actually needs. Others go in the opposite direction, eating fruit freely without any structure, only to watch their glucose numbers rise and wonder why. The real problem isn't fruit. The problem is the lack of clear understanding. Today, that changes. By the time you finish listening, you'll have a simple, practical way to look at fruit that removes the confusion. You'll know which fruits tend to support stable blood sugar, which ones require more care, and most importantly, why. Because once you understand how food behaves inside your body, you stop fearing it and start managing it with confidence. And let me make one thing very clear from the beginning. There is no fruit that you are permanently banned from eating. Not one. That kind of all or nothing thinking leads to frustration, obsession, and eventually giving up. What matters is not restriction. What matters is understanding, portion, and timing. People managing blood sugar can eat fruit. The real question is how to do it intelligently. Before we go into specific fruits, you need two simple tools. Without these, any list is just a list. With them, you'll be able to make smart decisions even beyond what we discuss here. The first tool is the glycemic index, often called GI. Think of it as speed. It measures how quickly the sugar from a food enters your bloodstream. High GI foods hit your blood fast, causing sharp spikes. Low GI foods release sugar slowly and steadily, which is what we want. The second tool is glycemic load, or GL. This one is even more important, yet often ignored. If GI is speed, GL is the total amount of sugar delivered. It tells you how much impact a normal serving actually has. Here's the rule you should remember. The best choices for blood sugar are foods that are both low in GI and low in GL. One without the other doesn't give you the full picture. Now, let's get into the fruits that generally work in your favor. Starting with plums. They don't get much attention, but they deserve it. They're naturally sweet, satisfying, and gentle on your blood sugar. They also contain nutrients that support your body's internal systems, including liver function, which plays a role in how your body handles glucose. Next are pears. Soft, juicy, and often underestimated. What makes pears especially valuable is their fiber content, particularly in the skin. That fiber acts like a natural barrier, slowing down how quickly sugar is absorbed. When you eat a pear whole, with the skin, you're giving your body built-in protection. Apples are another powerful option. You've probably heard they're healthy, but here's why they matter specifically for blood sugar. Apples contain a type of soluble fiber that not only slows sugar absorption, but also helps improve cholesterol levels. For someone managing diabetes, that combination is incredibly important because heart health is closely connected to blood sugar control. Then there's passion fruit. It's not as commonly eaten, but it's one of the most blood sugar-friendly fruits available. It's low impact, rich in nutrients, and even supports better sleep. And sleep matters more than most people realize. Poor sleep can raise your blood sugar the very next day, even if your diet is perfect. Oranges come next, and this is where a major misunderstanding happens. Eating a whole orange is completely different from drinking orange juice. When you eat the fruit, you get fiber that slows everything down. When you drink juice, that fiber is gone. What's left is a fast surge of sugar hitting your bloodstream. Even if the juice is fresh and natural, it behaves very differently in your body. Whole fruit protects you. Juice removes that protection. Kiwi is another excellent choice. It's low in sugar impact and packed with antioxidants that help support blood pressure. Since many people with blood sugar issues also deal with high blood pressure, this makes kiwi especially valuable. Strawberries are among the safest options you can choose. Their sugar impact is very low, and they contain compounds that support the health of your blood vessels. This is important because over time, high blood sugar can affect circulation, especially in the eyes, kidneys, and heart. Guava stands out as one of the lowest impact fruits of all. It challenges a common myth that all fruit sugar is harmful. The truth is, whole fruits like guava come with fiber, water, and nutrients that completely change how your body processes that sugar. It's not the same as processed sugar, and your body knows the difference. Peaches are another gentle option. Naturally sweet but balanced, they satisfy cravings without overwhelming your system. They're a great example of how you don't have to sacrifice enjoyment to stay in control. And finally, fresh cherries. These are one of the best choices you can make. They combine low sugar impact with powerful anti inflammatory compounds. But the key word here is fresh. Processed or syrup covered cherries are a completely different story and should be avoided. Now, while these fruits generally support stable blood sugar, there are others that require more attention. Papaya, for example, can be helpful for digestion, but it sits right on the edge in terms of sugar impact. That means portion control is essential. Small amounts, eaten with protein, can work. Large amounts can quickly become a problem. Pineapple is refreshing and popular, but it carries a heavier sugar load. It's not off limits, but it needs to be treated with respect. Small servings, not large bowls. Mango is loved worldwide, and for good reason. But it's easy to overconsume, especially in smoothies. Adding things like seeds might slow down absorption, but it doesn't reduce the total sugar your body has to process. The impact is still there. Bananas are convenient and nutritious, but they're also higher in sugar load. The ripeness matters a lot here. Slightly green bananas are better because they contain more resistant starch, which is slower to digest. Overripe bananas with brown spots act much faster in your body. Grapes are another tricky one. Not because they're inherently bad, but because they're so easy to overeat. You start with a few, and before you realize it, you've had far more than intended. Portion awareness is everything here. Beyond individual fruits, there are two major factors that can completely change how fruit affects you. The first is dried fruit. When fruit is dried, the water is removed, but the sugar remains. This concentrates the sugar into a much smaller volume, making it very easy to consume large amounts without realizing it. What looks like a small snack can carry a heavy sugar load. The second factor is ripeness. As fruit ripens, its natural starch converts into sugar. That means the same fruit can have a very different impact depending on when you eat it. Slightly less ripe fruit is generally a better choice for blood sugar stability. There's also one fruit that often confuses people, and that's watermelon. It has a high glycemic index, meaning the sugar enters the bloodstream quickly. But because it's mostly water, the total sugar in a typical serving is actually low. In moderation, it can work. The challenge is that it's easy to eat more than intended because it's light and refreshing. Now, let's bring this into real life. Trying to completely change your diet overnight rarely works. What does work is small, consistent adjustments. Start with one simple change. Look at your breakfast. This meal sets the tone for your entire day. If your morning starts with high sugar foods, it can lead to cravings and unstable energy later on. Instead, try something simple. Add protein, like eggs, and pair it with one whole fruit from the safer options. This combination slows digestion, keeps you full longer, and helps prevent those mid-morning crashes. Do this consistently for a few days and pay attention to how you feel. Notice your energy, your hunger, your focus. When one change becomes comfortable, then you build on it. Managing blood sugar isn't about fighting food. It's about understanding it. When you understand how different foods affect your body, you gain control. You make choices based on knowledge, not fear. And that gives you something far more valuable than restriction. It gives you freedom. So remember this. Whole fruit is always better than juice. Portion matters more than perfection. And small, consistent steps will always outperform drastic changes that don't last. Take it one day at a time. Start simple. Stay consistent. And let your progress build naturally.